The way I've always prepped characters coming from the theater when I have a long rehearsal period, I like to really work on voice and text and physical attributes that help me key into the character. Because I think even just by watching the way a person moves their hands can tell you so much about their history. To show them if someone holds their arms wide open, how they're fine with taking up space. So it says a little bit more than a person even reveals, even in their language. Bayard's pitch is probably 3 octaves higher than mine, naturally. His is a bit more reedy and up here, even a bit more up here, the way Bayard spoke. And he also spoke with a mid-Atlantic standard accent that was of his own doing. He created himself, which was awesome. I found that out through Rochelle Horowitz, one of his dear friends. I was like, where'd that accent come from? She said, he made it up. He made it up. I mean, he really was his own creation, which is awesome. So once you have that, and you're like, well, that keys into the character. That's interesting. So once you have the voice and then the physicality and the way, you put on some clothes from the 1960s, your body, it changes the way you move. You don't change. You don't sit the same way. You don't cross your legs in a certain way. So everything about that informs character. And then the teeth. Yes, by the time I got the prosthetics, what was interesting about that is once it goes in, you still have to exist in a way that Bayard did. He smiled wide. He spoke very quickly. He with great elocution. So you had this barrier, this challenge here. But I knew he had levity with his speech. So I had to work with that and really work with the teeth, to make sure. And then when I smiled, I had to smile wide because he was fearless. Even though that happened to him, from a police attack many years ago, it didn't stop him. It didn't hinder him. He still smiled with the fullness as if he had a full rack. And then the hair. Most men in the 1950s and 60s have very well-groomed hair. It was about, the way we present ourselves in the world, especially as Black people in America. And he was sort of a hippie. Just this shocking gray hair that was a little wild, a little unkempt at times. And I think that was a part of who he was. So there was so much that I had to access as a character that helped me inform the person walking through space. That was awesome.